Chapter 1. Focus on you until you win. There comes a moment in every person's journey when the noise of the world fades into the background and a single truth emerges with startling clarity. That truth is this: your life will only change when you decide to focus on yourself with unwavering intention. Not tomorrow, not when conditions are perfect, not when everyone around you finally understands. Right now. Most people spend their entire lives scattered, their attention pulled in 1,000 directions. They wake up reacting to notifications, responding to demands, living according to someone else's schedule, someone else's priorities, someone else's dreams. They pour their energy into everything except the one thing that matters most: their own growth, their own vision, their own transformation. But winning, truly winning, requires something different. It requires you to become selfish in the most sacred sense of the word. Not selfish in a way that harms others, but selfish in a way that protects your potential. Selfish enough to guard your time like it's the most valuable currency on earth, because it is. Selfish enough to say no to good opportunities so you can say yes to great ones. Selfish enough to disappoint people who expect you to stay small. When you focus on yourself, you're not running away from the world, you're preparing to contribute to it in ways you never could before. Think of it like this: a surgeon doesn't apologize for years of intense study. An athlete doesn't feel guilty for thousands of hours of training. A master craftsman doesn't regret the decades spent perfecting their skill. They understood something fundamental. Excellence requires isolation. Growth demands dedication. Transformation needs focus. The world will test you. It will present distractions disguised as obligations. It will offer comfort wrapped in familiarity. It will send people who question your commitment, who mock your discipline, who can't understand why you're no longer available for every gathering, every drama, every distraction. Let them question. Let them wonder. Your focus isn't up for debate. Every successful person you admire went through a season of intense self-focus, a season where they turned inward, where they said no more than they said yes, where they chose solitude over socializing, where they invested in themselves instead of entertaining others. This season isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. Focusing on yourself means getting brutally honest about where you are and where you want to be. It means looking at the gap between your current reality and your desired future without flinching, without making excuses, without blaming circumstances. It means taking full ownership of your life, your choices, your results. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you the life you want. You have to build it, brick by brick, decision by decision, day by day. This journey requires you to become your own best friend and your own toughest coach. You celebrate your wins, no matter how small. You forgive your failures, but you learn from them. You hold yourself accountable when no one else is watching. You push yourself when motivation fades. You show up for yourself the way you wish others would show up for you. Winning isn't about beating other people. It's about becoming the person you're capable of being. It's about maximizing your potential, fulfilling your purpose, and living with integrity. And none of that happens accidentally. It happens when you make the conscious decision to focus on you, relentlessly, unapologetically, until you win. The question isn't whether you're capable, you are. The question is whether you're willing to give yourself the focus, the time, and the commitment your dreams deserve. Chapter 2. Build a life based on your values and goals. Most people are living someone else's life without even realizing it. They've adopted values they never chose, chasing goals they never set, following a blueprint designed by society, family expectations, or social media trends. They wake up one day, exhausted and unfulfilled, wondering why success feels so empty, why achievement brings no peace, why they feel lost despite doing everything right. The answer is simple, but uncomfortable. They built their life on borrowed values. They constructed their dreams from someone else's vision. And no matter how perfectly you execute a plan that isn't truly yours, you'll never feel the satisfaction you're seeking. Building a life based on your values and goals starts with a radical act of self-discovery. You must pause long enough to ask yourself the questions most people avoid their entire lives. What actually matters to me? Not what should matter, not what matters to my parents or peers or society, but what genuinely lights a fire in my soul. What would I pursue if money wasn't a factor, if failure wasn't possible, if judgment didn't exist? Your values are your compass. They're the internal navigation system that guides every decision, every relationship, every opportunity. When you're clear on your values, choices become easier. You stop agonizing over decisions because you have a framework for evaluation. Does this align with who I am and who I'm becoming? Does this move me closer to my goals or distract me from them? Does this honor my values or compromise them? But here's what most people get wrong. They confuse society's values with their own. They think they value wealth when what they really value is freedom. They think they value status when what they really value is respect. They think they value popularity when what they really value is genuine connection. The difference matters. Chasing the wrong thing leads to a life of constant disappointment, even when you achieve what you set out to accomplish. Your goals must be extensions of your values, not violations of them. If you value family but your goals require you to sacrifice every meaningful relationship, something's misaligned. If you value health but your goals demand you destroy your body to achieve them, you're building on sand. If you value integrity but your goals require you to compromise your character, you're setting yourself up for a hollow victory. This doesn't mean your goals should be easy or comfortable. It means they should be authentic. Real goals energize you even when they exhaust you. They scare you in exciting ways, not soul-crushing ways. They stretch you without breaking you. They demand growth without requiring you to become someone you're not. Creating goals based on your values requires courage because it often means walking away from what looks impressive to pursue what feels meaningful. It might mean choosing a career that pays less but aligns with your purpose. It might mean building a business that grows slower but honors your principles. It might mean living somewhere unconventional, choosing relationships that nourish you over relationships that look good. Defining success in ways that confuse people who don't understand you. Let them be confused. This is your life, not theirs. You're not here to make sense to everyone else. You're here to make sense to yourself, to live in alignment, to build something that reflects who you truly are at your core. Start by writing down your non-negotiables. What are the values you will not compromise, regardless of the opportunity or pressure? These become your boundaries, your standards, your foundation. Then identify your authentic goals, the ones that make your heart beat faster when you think about them. Not the goals that would look good on social media, but the ones that would make you proud on your deathbed. The beautiful thing about living according to your values and goals is that comparison becomes irrelevant. You're no longer competing with others because you're playing an entirely different game. Your metrics for success are internal, not external. Your satisfaction comes from alignment, not achievement alone. This is how you build a life that feels like yours. This is how you create something sustainable, something meaningful, something worth the precious years you've been given. Not by following the map everyone else is using, but by drawing your own.
Chapter 3. Say no to distractions that waste your energy. Energy is the currency of achievement. Not time, not money, not talent. Energy. You can have all the time in the world, but without energy, you'll waste it. You can have tremendous talent, but without energy, you'll never develop it. Energy is what transforms potential into reality, dreams into accomplishments, intentions into results. And yet, most people leak energy like a broken faucet. They give it away freely, carelessly, to things and people that provide no return. They spend hours scrolling through endless feeds, absorbing other people's highlights and tragedies. They engage in conversations that drain them, relationships that deplete them, activities that leave them feeling empty. Then they wonder why they have nothing left for the goals that actually matter. Distractions are not always obvious. The most dangerous ones disguise themselves as important, as necessary, as harmless entertainment. They whisper convincing lies. Just 5 more minutes. You deserve a break. Everyone else is doing it. What's the harm? But those 5 minutes become 50. That break becomes a habit. That harmless scroll becomes an addiction. And suddenly weeks have passed, months have vanished, and your dreams remain exactly where you left them, gathering dust. Saying no to distractions requires you to develop a new kind of awareness. You must become conscious of where your energy flows. Track it like you would track money in a budget. Notice what activities leave you energized and what leaves you depleted. Pay attention to which people inspire you to be better and which people make you feel worse about yourself. Observe which habits move you forward and which keep you stuck in place. This awareness will reveal uncomfortable truths. You'll realize that some of your daily routines are actively working against you, that your phone is stealing hours of productive time, that certain friendships are one-sided energy drains, that the news cycle is filling your mind with anxiety about things you cannot control, that your commitment to being available to everyone means you're never fully present for your own life. The next step is harder. You must act on what you've discovered. Knowing your distractions isn't enough. You have to eliminate them ruthlessly and without guilt. Delete the apps that steal your focus. Mute the group chats that pull you into endless drama. Stop attending events out of obligation. Turn off notifications that interrupt your flow. Create boundaries around your time, your space, your attention. People will notice. They'll call you unavailable, antisocial, different. They'll accuse you of changing, of thinking you're too good for them now, of being selfish. They're right about one thing. You are changing. You're becoming someone who values their energy, who protects their focus, who refuses to sacrifice their future for momentary approval. That's not selfish. That's self-preservation. Understand this. Every yes to a distraction is a no to your goals. Every hour spent on meaningless activity is an hour not spent building your future. Every drop of energy wasted on drama, gossip, or digital noise is energy unavailable for creativity, growth, or progress. The cost of distraction isn't just lost time. It's lost potential, lost momentum, lost versions of yourself you'll never become because you were too busy being entertained. Saying no becomes easier when you're crystal clear on what you're saying yes to. When your vision is compelling enough, distractions lose their appeal. When your goals are important enough, temptations lose their power. When you truly value your energy, you guard it fiercely. This doesn't mean you never rest or have fun. Rest is essential. Joy is necessary. But there's a difference between intentional rest that recharges you and mindless distraction that numbs you. There's a difference between activities that genuinely bring you joy and activities you do simply because you're avoiding something more important. Your energy is finite. Your attention is precious. Your focus is your superpower. Distractions will always exist. There will always be something vying for your attention, something easier than the work you need to do, something more comfortable than the growth you need to pursue. The question is whether you'll have the discipline to say no. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has mastered this skill. They've learned to protect their energy like their life depends on it, because in many ways, it does. The life you want, the person you're becoming, the impact you'll make, all of it depends on where you direct your energy. Choose wisely, say no often, and watch what becomes possible when you finally focus all that reclaimed energy on what truly matters.
Develop routines that support your mental strength. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's not a genetic gift reserved for a select few. It's something you build, day by day, through the routines you establish and the habits you refuse to break. Your mind is like a muscle, and routines are the training program that makes it unbreakable. Most people approach their days reactively. They wake up without intention, check their phones before their feet hit the floor, and let the chaos of the world dictate their mood, their energy, their focus. By the time they realize they're overwhelmed, anxious, or scattered, they're already deep in the day with no foundation to stand on. They wonder why they feel mentally weak, why they can't handle pressure, why they crumble under stress. The answer is simple. They never built the routines that create resilience. Your morning sets the tone for everything that follows. How you start your day determines how you navigate its challenges. If you begin in a state of calm, clarity, and intention, you approach obstacles from a position of strength. If you begin in a state of chaos, reactivity, and distraction, you're already fighting from behind. The most mentally strong people in the world have morning routines that are non-negotiable, not because they're rigid or obsessive, but because they understand that mental strength requires preparation. This might mean waking up before the world demands your attention. It might mean spending the first hour in silence, away from screens, away from news, away from other people's energy. It might mean moving your body, feeding your mind with something worthwhile, setting clear intentions for the day ahead. Whatever your routine looks like, it should ground you, center you, and remind you of who you are and what you're building. But routines aren't just about mornings. They're about creating structure in every area of your life that affects your mental state. When you eat matters. When you sleep matters. When you work, when you rest, when you connect with others, all of it shapes your mental resilience. Chaos in your schedule creates chaos in your mind. Inconsistency in your habits creates inconsistency in your results. Mental strength also requires routines that protect your mind from overload. In a world that glorifies busyness and constant productivity, rest becomes revolutionary. Your routine must include time to disconnect, to process, to simply be. This might look like daily walks without your phone, weekly time in nature, monthly digital detoxes. It might mean setting boundaries around when you consume information, who you give your energy to, what you allow into your mental space. The most powerful routine you can develop is the practice of self-reflection. Mentally strong people don't just push through. They pause, assess, adjust. They ask themselves hard questions. What's working? What isn't? Where am I compromising? Where am I growing? What needs to change? This routine of honest self-examination prevents you from sleepwalking through life, repeating the same patterns, making the same mistakes. Your routines should also include practices that challenge your mind, reading that expands your perspective, conversations that make you think differently, problems that require creative solutions. Mental strength isn't just about endurance, it's about adaptability, flexibility, growth. Your routine should push you slightly beyond your comfort zone every single day.
Chapter 5. Cut off toxic influences and stay on your path. There's a harsh truth that many people refuse to accept. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should have a voice in your decisions. Not everyone belongs in your life, no matter how long they've been there, no matter what history you share, no matter how much guilt you feel about creating distance. Toxic influences are dream killers. They're the people who disguise doubt as concern, who present fear as wisdom, who frame their own limitations as universal truths. They're the voices that tell you to be realistic when you're trying to be extraordinary. The ones who remind you of every past failure when you're attempting something new. The ones who celebrate your struggles but grow quiet during your success. These influences don't always look toxic on the surface. Sometimes they're family members who love you but can't see beyond their own experiences. Sometimes they're friends who've grown comfortable with a version of you that no longer exists. Sometimes they're mentors whose advice worked in a different era but holds you back in this one. Sometimes they're romantic partners who need you to stay small so they don't feel inadequate. The toxicity isn't always intentional. People project their fears onto you because they're afraid to face their own. They discourage your dreams because pursuing their own feels too risky. They criticize your changes because your growth highlights their stagnation. Understanding this doesn't mean you have to tolerate it. Compassion for their journey doesn't require sacrificing your own. Cutting off toxic influences is one of the most difficult decisions you'll ever make. These are often people who've been in your life for years, people you care about, people who matter to you. But here's what you need to understand. Their presence in your life is negotiable, not permanent. Your loyalty to them cannot come at the cost of your loyalty to yourself. Your commitment to their comfort cannot supersede your commitment to your growth. Start by identifying the patterns. Who consistently makes you feel worse about yourself after spending time with them? Who questions every positive step you take? Who brings drama, chaos, or negativity into your space repeatedly? Who takes energy but never gives it back? Who celebrates your setbacks more enthusiastically than your wins? These are your toxic influences, and they're quietly sabotaging everything you're trying to build. Removing them from your life doesn't require drama or confrontation. It requires boundaries and distance. You don't owe anyone an explanation for protecting your peace. You don't need to justify why you're no longer available for relationships that drain you. You simply stop giving them access. You stop answering every call, attending every gathering, engaging in every conversation. You create space between their energy and yours. This will feel uncomfortable. You'll feel guilty. You'll wonder if you're being too harsh, too selfish, too cold. You'll hear their voices in your head reinforcing every doubt you already have about yourself. This is normal. Toxic influences don't release you easily. They've benefited from your presence, from your energy, from your willingness to absorb their negativity. They'll resist the boundary. They'll test it. They'll make you feel like you're the problem. Stay on your path anyway. Your path requires a clean environment, free from voices that contradict your vision. It requires surrounding yourself with people who elevate you, who challenge you to be better, who believe in possibilities instead of limitations. Not yes people who agree with everything, but genuine supporters who want to see you win and are willing to tell you hard truths that move you forward, not hold you back. Staying on your path means remembering why you started this journey in the first place. When toxic influences try to pull you back, remind yourself of your vision. When they question your choices, reconnect with your values. When they make you doubt yourself, review your progress. The evidence of your growth is stronger than their opinions about your potential. You'll also need to cut off toxic influences that aren't people. The media you consume, the content you watch, the environments you frequent, all of these shape your mindset. If you're constantly consuming content that makes you feel inadequate, afraid, or hopeless, that's toxic. If you're spending time in environments where negativity is the norm, where gossip is entertainment, where mediocrity is celebrated, that's toxic. Cut it off. Protect your path like your life depends on it, because your quality of life absolutely does. Every person you allow close to you either adds to your journey or subtracts from it. Every influence you permit either builds you up or tears you down. There's no neutral. Choose accordingly. The right people will understand your boundaries. The right influences will respect your vision. The right relationships will support your growth. Everyone else was never meant to walk this path with you. And that's okay. Not everyone gets to witness your transformation. Not everyone deserves to be part of your success story. Cut off what's toxic. Stay on your path and trust that the space you create by removing what doesn't serve you will be filled with what does.
Chapter 6. Push through self-doubt with clarity and confidence. Self-doubt is the silent assassin of dreams. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It whispers. It questions. It plants seeds of uncertainty in the quiet moments when you're alone with your thoughts. It waits until you're about to take a leap, then reminds you of every reason you might fail. It shows up exactly when you need confidence the most, disguised as rational thinking, as self-awareness, as protective caution. Everyone experiences self-doubt. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't the absence of doubt, it's the refusal to let doubt make decisions. It's the ability to acknowledge the fear, hear the whispers, and move forward anyway. Not recklessly, not blindly, but with clarity about what's real and what's just noise. Self-doubt often masquerades as truth. It tells you that you're not ready, not qualified, not experienced enough. It points to your past failures as evidence of future outcomes. It compares your beginning to someone else's middle. It magnifies your weaknesses while minimizing your strengths. And because it uses your own voice, your own thoughts, it feels more credible than it actually is. The first step to pushing through self-doubt is separating fact from fear. Ask yourself, is this thought based on actual evidence, or is it based on worry? Have I genuinely failed at this specific thing, or am I assuming I will? Am I actually unqualified, or am I just less experienced than I'd like to be? Most of the time, self-doubt isn't rooted in reality. It's rooted in fear of the unknown, fear of judgment, fear of discovering that we might not be as capable as we hoped. Clarity comes from interrogating your doubts instead of accepting them. When the voice says you can't do something, ask it why. When it says you're not good enough, demand specifics. When it says you'll fail, ask for proof. You'll find that self-doubt rarely has solid answers. It deals in vague feelings, not concrete facts. And when you shine the light of rational questioning on it, it often dissolves. Confidence isn't the absence of self-doubt. It's the decision to act despite it. Confidence is knowing that you'll figure it out, even if you don't have all the answers right now. It's trusting that your ability to learn, adapt, and persist is more important than your current level of knowledge or skill. It's understanding that everyone who ever accomplished anything meaningful did so while doubting themselves along the way. Building this kind of confidence requires evidence. Not evidence that you're perfect, but evidence that you're capable. Look back at everything you've already overcome, the challenges you didn't think you could handle, but did, the skills you didn't have but learned, the obstacles you faced and conquered. Your history is full of proof that you're more resilient than your self-doubt suggests. Use it. Another powerful tool is clarity of purpose. When you're crystal clear on why you're pursuing something, self-doubt loses its grip. Your why becomes bigger than your fear. Your vision becomes more compelling than your uncertainty. When you know deeply, in your core, that what you're doing matters, that it aligns with your values, that it's worth the discomfort, self-doubt becomes background noise instead of a decision maker. Surround yourself with reminders of your capability. Write down your wins, no matter how small. Keep a record of positive feedback, moments of success, times when you exceeded your own expectations. When self-doubt creeps in, review this evidence. Let it remind you that your doubt is not the full picture. It's one perspective, and often the least accurate one. You also need to normalize discomfort. Self-doubt intensifies when you believe you shouldn't be feeling it, when you think that confident people never question themselves, that successful people never worry, that capable people never feel unsure. That's a myth. Everyone feels these things. The difference is what they do with those feelings. They don't wait for certainty. They don't postpone action until doubt disappears. They move with the doubt, carrying it along, refusing to let it have veto power. Practice taking action before you feel ready. This is how you build real confidence, not the shallow kind based on perfect conditions, but the deep kind based on tested resilience. Every time you do something while doubting yourself and survive it, learn from it, or succeed at it, you weaken doubt's hold on you. You prove to yourself that your fear was overstated, that you're more capable than you gave yourself credit for. Self-doubt will never fully disappear. It's part of being human, part of attempting things that matter, part of pushing beyond what's familiar. But it doesn't have to stop you. You can acknowledge it, question it, and then make decisions based on clarity and confidence instead of fear and uncertainty. The life you want exists on the other side of self-doubt. The person you're becoming requires you to move forward despite it. Every time you push through, you become a little stronger, a little more confident, a little more certain that you can handle whatever comes next. That's not arrogance. That's earned self-trust, and it's the foundation of everything you're building.
Chapter 7. Keep going even when no one supports you. Loneliness is an inevitable part of any meaningful journey. Not physical loneliness necessarily, but the deep, aching awareness that no one fully understands what you're trying to do, why it matters so much to you, or why you're willing to sacrifice so much for it. This isolation intensifies when the people you expected to support you don't, when they question your choices, doubt your vision, or simply become silent witnesses to your struggle. This is where most people quit, not because the work is too hard, not because the goal is impossible, but because they cannot bear the weight of moving forward alone. They need validation, they need cheerleaders, they need someone to tell them they're on the right path, that it's all going to work out, that they're not crazy for believing in something others can't see yet. And when that support doesn't come, they interpret the silence as a sign. Maybe everyone else is right. Maybe I should give up. Maybe this is foolish. But here's the truth they don't understand until it's too late. The absence of support is not evidence that you're wrong. It's evidence that you're pioneering something beyond the comprehension of people still living inside their comfort zones. Unsupported doesn't mean incorrect. It means unprecedented, at least in your circle. It means you're venturing into territory that makes others uncomfortable because it challenges their own choices to play it safe. The people who achieve remarkable things are almost always the ones who kept going when everyone else thought they should stop. They're the ones who believed in their vision when it was invisible to others. They're the ones who trusted themselves more than they trusted the opinions of people who'd never walked their path. This isn't arrogance, it's self-reliance. It's the understanding that external validation is unreliable, especially in the early stages of anything worthwhile. Lack of support often comes from the people closest to you, which makes it hurt even more. Your family might not understand why you're leaving a stable job to start a business. Your friends might not grasp why you're spending weekends working on your goals instead of hanging out. Your partner might not see why you're so committed to a dream that hasn't produced results yet. Their doubt isn't malicious. It's rooted in their own fears, their own limitations, their own inability to see beyond what's already visible. You have to make peace with the fact that some people will never support you until after you've succeeded. And even then, they'll rewrite the narrative, claiming they always believed in you, that they saw your potential all along. Don't wait for their support to act. Don't postpone your dreams until they understand. Don't shrink your vision to fit their level of belief. Their limitations are not your ceiling. Keeping going without support requires an internal compass that's unshakable. You need to know, deeply and without question, that what you're doing matters, that your goals align with your values, that your vision is worth the temporary isolation. This internal certainty becomes your fuel when external encouragement runs dry. It's what keeps you moving forward when everyone else has stopped paying attention. You'll also need to become your own supporter. Celebrate your small wins, even if no one else notices. Acknowledge your progress, even if it's invisible to others. Encourage yourself with the same kindness you wish others would show you. Talk to yourself like someone who believes in you completely, because in many seasons of your journey, you'll be the only one who does. That's not sad, that's powerful. Self-belief that doesn't depend on external validation is the most reliable kind. Understand that people's lack of support often has nothing to do with you. They're dealing with their own fears, their own disappointments, their own regrets about roads not taken. When they see you pursuing something bold, it holds up a mirror to their own inaction. Instead of confronting that discomfort, they project it onto you. They question your path instead of examining their own. This is about them,
not you. Don't internalize their doubts. There will be moments when the loneliness feels unbearable, when you question if it's worth it, if you're making a mistake, if you should just conform to what everyone else expects. In these moments, reconnect with your why. Remember what sparked this journey. Visualize what life will look like when you achieve what you're working toward. Think about the person you're becoming through this process, the discipline, the resilience, the self-trust you're building. That's worth more than temporary approval. Eventually, if you keep going, one of two things will happen. Either you'll succeed, and the people who doubted you will suddenly remember they always supported you, or you'll find new people who understand your vision, who are on similar paths, who can offer genuine support because they're living it too. But you won't find those people if you quit. You won't reach success if you stop. The only guarantee is that giving up ensures you'll never know what was possible. History is full of people who achieved extraordinary things in the face of universal doubt. Inventors who were called crazy, artists who were rejected by everyone, entrepreneurs who were laughed at, leaders who were dismissed. They didn't have the luxury of widespread support. They had something better, unshakable belief in themselves and their vision. That's what carried them through. That's what will carry you through too. Keep going, not because it's easy, not because everyone understands. Keep going because you know, in the deepest part of yourself, that what you're building matters. Keep going because the alternative, giving up to please others who aren't living your life, is unacceptable. Keep going because one day you'll look back at this season of isolation and recognize it as the time when you became truly unstoppable, when you learned that the only support you ever really needed was your own.
Chapter 8. Prioritize yourself without guilt or hesitation. You've been trained from childhood to believe that putting yourself first is selfish, that prioritizing your needs over others' wants makes you a bad person, that saying no when people ask for your time, energy, or resources is cruel. This conditioning runs deep. It shows up in every hesitation, every guilty feeling, every moment you sacrifice what you need for what others expect. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't prioritize yourself, you will live a life that belongs to everyone else. Your time will be spent fulfilling other people's agendas. Your energy will be poured into other people's dreams. Your potential will remain dormant because you're too busy being everything to everyone except who you need to be for yourself. Prioritizing yourself isn't selfish, it's survival. It's the recognition that you cannot pour from an empty cup, that you cannot give what you don't have, that you cannot help anyone else if you've depleted yourself trying to please them. The people who accomplish meaningful things, who create impact, who live fulfilled lives, they all understood this fundamental principle. Self-priority is the foundation of everything else. This means making decisions that serve your growth, even when others don't like them. It means investing in your development, even when people think it's unnecessary. It means protecting your time, even when others call you unavailable. It means choosing your well-being over their convenience, every single time, without apology, without explanation, without guilt. Guilt is the weapon people use to manipulate you back into compliance. When you start prioritizing yourself, people who benefited from your self-neglect will make you feel guilty. They'll remind you of what you used to do for them. They'll question why you've changed. They'll make you feel like you're abandoning them, betraying them, letting them down. This guilt is designed to pull you back into old patterns where their needs mattered more than yours. Resist it. Recognize guilt for what it is, a learned response to breaking invisible rules you never agreed to follow. You don't owe anyone your time, energy, or resources simply because they've grown accustomed to having them. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. You don't owe anyone access to you at the expense of your own well-being.
These are not obligations. These are choices you've been conditioned to believe are requirements. Prioritizing yourself means getting comfortable with disappointing people. This is non-negotiable. You cannot honor yourself and please everyone simultaneously. Someone will always be unhappy with your boundaries. Someone will always want more than you're willing to give. Someone will always feel entitled to your time, energy, or support. You're not responsible for managing their disappointment. You're responsible for managing your life. Start with your time. It's the most valuable resource you have, and you've been giving it away like it's infinite. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that matters. Every hour spent on someone else's priority is an hour not spent on your own. Stop accepting every invitation, answering every call, attending every event. Your time is not community property. It's yours. Protect it accordingly. Prioritize your health, mental and physical. This means sleep when you need it, not when it's convenient for others. It means eating well, moving your body, taking breaks. It means saying no to late nights, toxic environments, and stressful situations that compromise your well-being. Your health is not negotiable. It's the foundation upon which everything else is built. Without it, nothing else matters. Prioritize your growth. Invest in yourself unapologetically. Buy the course, hire the coach, take the trip. Spend money on your development even when people question it. The best investment you'll ever make is in yourself. Education, experiences, skills, these compound over time. The you that prioritizes growth becomes exponentially more capable than the you that prioritizes everyone else's comfort. Prioritize your peace. Walk away from anything that consistently disrupts it. Relationships that drain you, jobs that destroy you, environments that stress you, obligations that exhaust you. Peace isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And anything that threatens it repeatedly doesn't belong in your life, regardless of how normal or expected that thing might be. This doesn't mean you become cold or uncaring. It doesn't mean you never help anyone or show compassion. It means you help from a place of abundance, not depletion. It means your compassion extends to yourself first. It means you show up for others because you choose to, not because you're obliged to. There's a profound difference between generosity and martyrdom. One is sustainable, the other is self-destruction disguised as virtue. People who truly care about you will understand when you prioritize yourself. They'll respect your boundaries. They'll support your growth. They'll want you to thrive, even if it means you're less available to them. The ones who don't understand, the ones who make you feel guilty, the ones who resist your self-priority, they're showing you exactly who they are. They care more about what you provide for them than about your well-being. That's not love. That's exploitation. You will face criticism for this shift. People will call you selfish, changed, different. They're right. You are different. You're becoming someone who values themselves, who refuses to live for everyone else's approval, who understands that your life is too short and too precious to spend it meeting expectations you never agreed to. That's not selfish. That's evolved. Prioritizing yourself without guilt or hesitation is an act of radical self-respect. It's the declaration that your life, your dreams, your well-being matter just as much as anyone else's. It's the decision to stop apologizing for taking up space, for having needs, for being human. It's the choice to live according to your own standards instead of everyone else's demands. The guilt will fade, the hesitation will disappear, and what will remain is a life that actually belongs to you. A life built on your terms, aligned with your values, dedicated to your purpose. A life where you're not constantly exhausted from trying to be everything for everyone. A life where you have enough, you are enough, because you finally started treating yourself like you matter. Because you do matter.
Your dreams matter, your time matters, your energy matters, your life matters, and anyone who makes you feel guilty for believing that doesn't deserve the priority you've been giving them. Prioritize yourself, without guilt, without hesitation, without apology. This is your life. Live it for you.